We are running out of time for the publication of the preliminary findings.
I know, Stella. I know.
When do you think we can start testing the new medicine on humans?
The survival of the mice is encouraging, but we do not want to risk the lives of humans prematurely.
So, what are you planning to do?
I am testing it on myself first.
You are kidding me.
I have already taken the pill.
Be careful, Dr. Miller.
Don't worry about me. Everything is going to be fine. I am sure of it.
Something just doesn't add up. I'd better see Rod. I have a question, but really hope this time you give me a straightforward answer. Without much ado.
What's a test? I hope I will pass it.
Okay, I'll be clear. Last time, you provided me with your insight on the footprints, but you did not talk about all footprints in my photos.
That's true. The scene was near a construction site, so I had to exclude those that can most certainly be ruled out from the investigation.
Can you teach me a little bit about your exclusionary criteria?
Sure. The criterion includes the footprints of those coming to the scene from the first gate of the park. This is important to save time that could, otherwise, be wasted on identifying their owners.
What about the excluded footprints?
Those are mainly the footprints of people entering the scene from the second gate. The second gate is for emergency cases only, and there is no way for visitors to use under normal circumstances. It is the same that the ambulance and police used. I have also excluded old footprints, and those that do not seem to have trodden on the same place where the dead body was found.
I see.
Did I pass your test, Sergeant?
I guess you have scored an A. Just to be 100% sure, may I ask you to double check on the excluded prints? We are looking for a person who could have been with Ben at the time?
I don't think a second review will give any better results. Anyways, I will do that for you.
How was your trip to Dexler?
A good break, you can call it. We still need to see the manager. She is not in town this week.
I think it is time we reflect on the whole story, but after you tell me about the interview with Samantha.
Right. I will share with you what Samantha said to me, then let us go to the meeting room to sketch the picture.
In light of what we got from Samantha, in addition to prior evidence, we can draw a preliminary outline for the story. Ben was working on a research to produce a medicine for the treatment of heart diseases. He made a good progress on it, with the help of his assistant, Stella Brown. Few months later, his research failed, and that coincided with the death of Stella in a car accident. Then, Ben demonstrated a change in his psychological mood. He was depressed.
And we cannot for sure tell if it was sadness for failure or grief for the death of Stella.
Correct. At some point of time, he then subscribed to life insurance. Since life insurance companies require their new subscribers to be healthy, we can safely say he developed some cardiac illness after subscription.
I agree.
One day, he received a disturbing message through email or social messaging platform. Shortly before his death, his psychological state drastically changed. He showed happiness and ostensibly recovered from depression.
I think we have to be cautious about this assumption. Suiciders usually show signs of happiness after a period of depression. Psychologists say when a depressed person is finally happy, then there would be a chance for this to be an evidence that he has decided to take his own life.
Of course, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of dying is quite relevant here. But even if we assume that he committed suicide, we do not have the tool. His body does not show any signs of intoxication.
Let us follow on the chronological timeline. What do you think happened next?
Someone ran a prank on Olivia by writing a message on her phone. She went to the park but did not find anybody. In the time, she lost her key, searched for it in the scene but did not find it. At 5 p.m., Ben arrives. He gets on the scene and sits on the bench. Someone comes to him and offers him a sandwich, which he accepts. Then at around 11 p.m., he dies of a heart attack. At around midnight, the janitor goes there and reports the incident. We arrive at the scene and collect evidence. Olivia's key had already been picked up by the janitor.
Brilliant. Joanna. Now, we have a couple of questions, which need some more digging. Why was Ben depressed all this time?
What made him happy at the end?
What was the disturbing email that he received? Who was the one who played the prank? And what was his motive?
I think we also need to know whether the man whom Ben met was a friend or a passerby.
The last question is, how does Socrates fit in all of this picture?
The lavender code is still to be resolved, as well.
The footprints issue you pointed out earlier is really perplexing. But, let us worry about it later, at least after the interview with Dexler's manager.
Roger. Officer. Apparently, we have come up with more questions than answers.
Indeed, Joanna. Ben's feelings, his ups and downs, should be our focus. This will answer many of those questions. Professor Morgan, I understand the confidential nature of your research and business, and will record in my report the most relevant thoughts only.
I will be grateful. Thank you for your consideration. To begin with, Ben and Stella were testing in their research a new medicine that could bring comfort to patients suffering from some sorts of heart diseases. The final stages of laboratory research involves experiments on mice before we follow the medical protocols for testing on humans.
I understood the experiment failed, right?
No, officer. That was just at the beginning.
I am afraid I don't understand.
I'll explain it to you. The experimental mice were given the dose, and they survived for 10 days in a row. Then they all died.
So, what did you do next?
Well, months after the experiment, Ben confessed to me that he tried the pill on himself. I was furious about it.
I can understand why.
Well, after the mice died, we had to put the project on hold to make an assessment. The results were inconclusive. At that time, Stella, Ben's assistant, died in a tragic car accident, and we appointed Samantha as a replacement.
But, you said the research was successful?
Correct. But, I have only discovered that yesterday. You know, experiments need to be done by peer researchers. That is why it takes time for a medicine to find its way to the market.
Yesterday.
Peer researchers from other labs have confirmed to me that the experiment works on humans perfectly without side effects.
And how do you account for the death of the mice? Was it the dosage?
Nothing was wrong with the dosage, but since all mice died, and the experiment succeeded elsewhere, then usually such things happen because of other factors.
You said Dr. Miller experimented the medicine on himself. So, that raises the question of what happens if a healthy person uses Flexine.
The peer researchers' results show that nothing will happen to healthy people using the drug, though of course it is not recommended. Flexine is a concentraton of the siamite leaves. It is a natural substance, and what it does is that it produces vitamins known as S90 and S95. 2 pills are needed to make the effect.
Well, this is important. Let me ask you this. Would a blood test, or any other laboratory test, show Flexine in blood, for example?
Never. It is just a combination of vitamins, though with some concentration. It would not be isolated through a test lab as such. Just vitamins going to the heart, you know.
What do you know about Stella Brown? Do you have the contact details of her family?
We know little information about Stella. She did not talk much about her personal life. What we know about her is that she was born in Poclera's town. Her mother was divorced before she was born. After her mother's death, she moved to live with her father.
Anything about her father?
No. She did not talk a lot about him.
Brown is a common surname, and I think it will be a bit difficult to trace him.
Brown is not the surname of her father.
What do you mean?
Her name is Stella Maria Brown. She took her mother's name.
It is not uncommon for a person to take their mother names, but I guess you do not have any information about Stella's case.
Correct.
I learned that Dr. Miller's psychological mood changed over the past year. Do you have any information about that?
After her death, Ben grew a feeling of sadness, or so to speak, depression. He became more focused on his work, and tended to break up from social life.
Have you ever noticed a remarkable change in him?
Well, I remember something strange about him. Dr. Miller was a highly organized person. He would always respect break times. But, when I dropped by his office to invite him for snack at lunch. It's lunchtime, Ben. How about having a snack together in the cafeteria today?
Thank you for the offer, Professor, but I would like to stay in office today. I am playing this game and I'm stuck at some levels. There.
What game, Ben?
Well, this is Lavender. It is an old-fashioned child days game that runs through an emulator. The player is in a treasure island and has to fight against pirates until he gets the treasure.
Ben was always a serious, hard-working man. He wasn't that sort of a person to waste his time on computer games. But, I thought it was part of his depressive mode, so I left him alone.
Professor Morgan, I think I got all I needed to know for the case. Thank you very much for your time. Hi Joanna, I've got a lead from Dexler.
Great, I am all ears.
Ben used to play a computer game at break time. Do you fancy playing it?
Computer games are not my passion. They are a waste of time.
But, the game he used to play is called Lavender.
You know, officer, I've always loved to play computer games.
Let's do it. I am on the way.